Welcome. It is the Nisha Jackson Show. I'm Rusty Humphries. She's Nisha Jackson. And everything sucks.
Wait.
Show sucks. I suck.
Wait.
Shirt sucks.
Wait.
I feel like I have negative energy going on.
You so don't ever have negative energy. What's wrong with you? I can't be around you if you're like this.
Oh, well, it's the setup for the topic. It's a poor setup, but it is a setup for today's topic. You wanted to talk about negative energy and how that affects people, right?
Yes. I want to just bring back to people, because I like to talk about things that are relevant to me.
Okay.
And this is really relevant to me.
Are you around negative people, negative energy?
Everybody's around negative people. And I just realized that sometimes it seems like to me that I'm meeting more and more people that are becoming more and more intolerant of negative people. Like they just cannot, they notice it right away when people are like overly negative or stuck in their negativity, and they don't want to be around it. But sometimes, Rusty, when we start really observing negative people, it's just because we have the problem also.
Okay. Is being intolerant of intolerance, I thought we're supposed to be more tolerant. Do you think we should be intolerant of negative energy?
Well, I think what happens is that we start observing negativity a lot more when we're negative. We start observing it. So that's one of my signs. So you're jumping ahead again.
I'm not trying
these
to
are my
jump ahead.
These are my 9 signs that you have negative energy going on.
Okay, number one.
Okay, first of all, I want to describe what negative energy is.
Shut up.
And I think you would know. I think you would know because you're probably somewhat intolerant. I mean, no one likes to hang around people who are downers, like Debbie Downers,
yes.
Eeyore syndrome, right? Mm-hmm. So because negative energy is very contagious. So if you have a group of people and you put a negative person in that group, first of all, that's going to take the whole group down. This is really, this has been studied and it's very much true. But if you put a positive person in there, it's also going to move them in a good way, move the group in a good way. So obviously we all want to strive to be more positive, more hopeful, more energetic with our positivity, right? So the negative syndrome, I'm not talking about just having to discuss something that's difficult, because obviously we have to deal with negative things in our life. There's things that come up every single day and we have to deal with them. But that's not what I'm talking about here. I'm talking about being negative all the way down into your bones. And I'm talking about people that are negative in their mindset. Negativity comes out of their mouth. They're not really trying to fix something. They're just trying to churn it around and around and around, which is my first point to talk about, is that the people who, when you're either yourself or somebody else that you're around a lot that has a negative energy, one of the first signs that you will see with them is they're talking about negative things all the time. They see negativity in other people, and they just talk about it all the time. They're constantly discussing negative things, and so it's almost like they're hooked on negativity. So that's one sign. The other thing is that they will be the first to notice negative energy in somebody else. So if you're operating in a more positive, lovely, energetic state, you will be less likely to see the negativity in others because you're rising above it. You're not getting stuck on it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So if you find yourself saying, I just can't be around negative people, they drive me crazy, it's just such a downer, you're probably operating in kind of a negative state yourself, because you're identifying it and you're talking about it. And the more you talk about it, the more your whole system, your whole body, your whole being will go in that direction. So just be really careful about saying those things, because it's possible that you're stuck in your own negative energy. Okay. So working late at night, I think one of the things that we don't do very well, and I'm guilty of this too, and I know when I start just snapping and looking at things and complaining, I've worked too much. It's like time to shut it down. Huh. And I have people really close to me that remind me of this a lot. Like, it's time to shut it down, Nish.
All right,
you've worked enough.
You're done. Yeah, okay.
You're done. In fact, my daughter says that all the time. My oldest daughter, you're done. Okay, you're done. You're done, Mom. You're done. And it's such a good reminder, because to expect yourself to get up in the morning, handle all of the stressors during the day, manage family, work, home, cars, doctor's appointments, whatever, to manage all of that, and then come home and manage kids, homework, cleaning the house, laundry, whatever, and keep processing, and then emails and all the stuff that we do until we throw ourselves into bed at night is a little bit unrealistic on what we actually can handle as human beings. Okay. So I would just say, if you find yourself really losing your stuff at night and snapping at your family, or being really negative and not very happy at the, when you're having dinner with your family or friends or whatever, if you're just constantly griping about things, it's possible that you've been pushing yourself too late into the evening, and your brain needs to shut down.
Okay.
Give yourself a little bit.
Now, how
of a
about
rest. People
that like to party at night? Is that kind of the same thing, or not really?
Well, no. It depends on what you're doing when you're partying, but laughing and being with friends and enjoying yourself, and maybe reading a book, watching a show. I mean, these are not negative. Typically, these are not negative activities. So those would be good. But I'm talking about pushing yourself and working late at night is really something that we need to maybe stop doing, and just saying, it's enough for today. I've done enough. This is enough. Okay. Those are good things to say, right? This is enough. Yeah. This is enough. Because sometimes I think we tell ourselves it's just not enough.
Because we have to keep that balance in our lives. And that's probably what this is talking about, right? We're not balancing our life properly.
Right. The other thing that I really try not to do, because I just think we're all our own person, is constantly comparing ourselves to other people, or comparing other people to other people. Like, if she would just realize this and do this, it would be so much better for her. Or comparing ourselves to other people. If they would just think like me, they would just get along better in their life. So if you're constantly comparing yourself, or you're comparing others to what you feel that they should be, you're stuck in your own negativity. That's not something you should be worrying about. You should be worrying about yourself. You should be worrying about your own being and becoming a better person, and quit comparing yourself and try to figure out why certain people aren't doing certain things. Just give it up, because it's going to make you miserable. You have no control over other people.
All I'm thinking about as you're talking about that is, if only Meghan would be nicer to Harry and not take her away from the Queen, they'd have all this money, or, things from TMZ or Jerry Springer type stuff.
I know.
That's like that. That's the whole life. So staying away from that kind of thing is probably a good thing for your life.
That's right. Kind of yeah. I worry about all these reality shows a little bit. I don't want to get off on that right now because I don't watch them, but the reality shows I just worry about, because I think, people kind of thrive on negativity. They kind of thrive on bad situations, people fighting. They think it's funny. It's sort of cool. But the problem is, it's just seeding it into our brains like it's normal, like it's good, like it's positive, and it's funny. And it's really not funny. It's really not good. I mean, obviously there's some things that are super funny on reality TV, but just be careful what you're feeding your brain all the time, and accepting that to be the norm, because really we're meant as human beings to be light and to be lovely and to be thinking about things that are good and honest and positive. And not that everything is rosy all the time, but this is something that we can do for ourselves, because again, where we choose our thoughts to be is where our whole life will continue to go.
So you think it's not great to be focused on the life of one bachelor and 16 women trying to get his attention?
Probably not.
Okay, just checking.
Probably not.
You're not a fan of The Bachelor?
I think I watched it once and I'm like, I just can't. I can't do it. I just can't do it. Okay.
What are we, number 5?
No offense, bachelorettes. Okay, you're depressed. So if you're feeling depressed, and it's kind of interesting, Rusty, because one thing that I've really been against my entire medical practice, all the years I've seen patients and practiced medicine, all of the years, I am so vitally opposed to people being saying that they don't like feeling low. They don't, their mother died. 3 weeks later, they're still crying and they just want to get a handle on it. They want to move on. And I think so many times we don't accept the fact that we're emotional beings. We are meant to develop, have emotions and move through them, but we're not meant to get stuck in them. And if you're finding that you're stuck in an emotion, especially a negative emotion, and it's making you feel depressed, it actually probably isn't chemical depression. It's probably that you've been negative and stuck in your negativity for so much so much time that it feels like depression. So one of the things that you can do that I think is really important that I want to make sure I say in this show is if you are identifying with anything that I'm saying today and you feel that you're guilty of that, because I know I am, I have to work on this. It's not like I can be brutal. Yeah. I really can be brutal sometimes. I can be brutal on myself and others. And so I'm saying this out of a lot of conviction for myself too. But if you're finding that you're doing this and you can relate to anything that I'm saying today, I would say do this, because this will snap you out of it immediately. And that is to be grateful. So if you are you're going off about somebody or a situation, and you come home and you are with your significant other or with your family and you're just ranting about the day and all the bad things that happen and the people that you really upset you, I would immediately catch yourself that you're in this negative mindset, because you're going to take your whole family down with you or your friends who you're out with, and just think about what you can talk about that you're grateful for. Because the minute you switch and say, I'm just so grateful for what I have in my life. I'm grateful that I get up in the morning, that I'm able to go to work, that I'm able to have a beautiful family and friends. The minute you're grateful, you can't be grateful and negative at the same time. Those two emotions cannot coexist together. So if you want to snap yourself out of it, and you might have to do this multiple times a day if you're stuck in your own negativity, be grateful, because gratefulness stops negativity.
Oh, that's great advice. Great advice. Number 6.
Yes, your schedule's too hectic. That kind of goes in along with what I talked about earlier about working late at night. Mm-hmm. If your schedule's too hectic, again, your nervous system is not going to be able to handle a hectic schedule. So what you're going to notice is that you kind of go to the negative state because you can't control it. You can't control it enough. Okay. And part of being negative, I think, Rusty, is people just trying to control the situation. So think about that. When your schedule's too hectic, it may be that your body and your mind can't process that. Mm-hmm. And again, one of the best things you can do is stop, put some shoes on that you can go outside, or don't even worry about putting on workout shoes. Just go outside, because being in nature helps relieve negativity, and being outside and removing yourself from the situation may be the best thing you can do before you say something you're going to regret.
Great. Number 7.
Well, I've kind of just sort of like put them all together, but this is really number 9.
Okay.
You're highly emotional. Okay. So if you are finding yourself, because a lot of times when you're emotional, people are not equating that to negativity. So if you're all over the board with the emotions, you're really happy in the morning, and by noon you've hit the wall and you're snapping at people. By the afternoon you're crying. That night you're throwing yourself into bed and you can't sleep because you're replaying a conversation that somebody said to you that you have it's already done. Mm-hmm. It's gone. So if you're really emotional, it may just be that you're stuck in your own negativity. And that's one sign that maybe it's time to start, again, being grateful and moving yourself out of it. But becoming aware of your own negativity is the first thing that you can do to help yourself. And just remember, I'm going to say it one more time, wherever your mind is, your whole life is going to go in that direction. And likely the people that you love the most are going to go right along with you, because negativity is contagious.
And it's shocking on how much, like you said, that negativity and gratefulness can't coexist.
Yes, they don't.
And
they
so
don't work together. It's
amazing on how, when you start going down that grateful path, how your mood does change, how your life can change when you start focusing on that.
Right. It's such a good tool to use because it's so easy. And I don't think, Rusty, we give ourselves enough credit for how much control we actually do have over our own emotions. We have a lot of control over our life. We have a lot of control over our destiny, and we have a lot of control over what comes out of our mouth, but we actually sometimes treat ourselves as if we're helpless. Like we can change this around immediately. And I've had to do that. I mean, I've been in the office and things aren't going well and people are fighting or whatever, and I'm just literally feeling like my head is going to blow off my shoulders, like it's going to go or turn all the way around 360 degrees. And I just stop. People see me walk outside a lot, and I just walk up the sidewalk and I breathe and I tell myself what I'm grateful for. And then I say, really, is this big of a deal that I feel I can take my precious energy and put it towards this situation, which is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. Why would I do that?
Maybe we could get, just for fun, Dr. Nisha Pez dispensers for those days when you're really bad. You can hand out candy from your head. Then again, maybe not. One thing you should get, though, is get the new book, Brilliant Burnout, How Successful Driven Women Can Stay in the Game by Rewiring Their Bodies, Their Brains, and Their Hormones. Make sure you go to nishajackson.com for more information. Anything else you want to wrap this up with?
No, I just want to thank everybody out there for listening to this show. I meet people all the time that say, I love your show. I've been listening to it. It's really helped me a lot. And, we talk about pretty simple things and pretty straightforward things. It's not like this is earth-shattering stuff, but it's important to hear. And I just really appreciate that you guys are sharing this with other people on Facebook. And it's really important to me. Ultimately, I want people to get well inside and out. And so thank you.
Yes. Okay. So share this if you're watching on Facebook. If you're listening to it on Google Podcasts or Apple Podcasts, make sure you subscribe. YouTube, hit that subscribe button as well. Whether you're watching on Roku or Apple TV, or you're watching it on Fire TV, or it's all over the place, you can pretty much watch this on any device at any time, anywhere in the world. So it's very cool, and we sure appreciate you being a part of it. We'll catch you next time. I'm Rusty Humphries. She's Dr. Nisha Jackson, and this is The Nisha Jackson Show.